What if your AI agent didn't just remember information about you? What if it remembered how you work? You complete a task once, the agent learns the procedure, saves it as a visible skill, and can reuse it later. That is Hermes Agent. Welcome back everyone, my name is Ilham, and in this video I will be covering Hermes Agent and why I personally think that Hermes is better than OpenClaw for the type of agent that I want. OpenClaw has a massive skill ecosystem, but researchers have also found malicious skills inside that ecosystem. Hermes gives us another option: teach the agent ourselves using workflows we can inspect. So today, let's install Hermes, completely transform it into Kratos, how ironic, connect it to Telegram, and teach it a very simple skill. To be fair, OpenClaw is extremely capable. It supports local skills, self-learning, plugins, and a much larger ecosystem. The difference is emphasis. OpenClaw feels like an expandable assistant that can also learn. Hermes feels like a self-improving agent first. And Hermes isn't automatically safe just because it's Hermes. Both platforms can run scripts and install external skills. Random code from the internet is still random code from the internet. The feature I care about is that Hermes lets us perform a trusted workflow, review the result, and then preserve that workflow as our own skill. Hermes Agent is an open source AI agent from News Research. It can use the terminal, manage files, browse the web, remember information, create reusable skills, schedule cron jobs, and communicate through messaging platforms. It also supports different model providers, so the agent itself isn't permanently tied to one model company. And if you want, you can even use your own locally hosted AI models, if that's what you prefer. Today, though, we are keeping everything inside an Ubuntu server virtual machine running locally on just my laptop. And the VM I'm using is very simple. It only has 8 virtual cores, 8 gigs of memory, 50 gigs of storage, and well, it's Ubuntu server 26.04 LTS. The model runs through an API. So really, we don't really need any dedicated AI graphics card. Plus, Ubuntu server also keeps the VM very lightweight. We don't need to allocate resources to a full desktop environment when almost everything in this demonstration happens through the terminal. The virtual machine gives us snapshots and also keeps the experiment isolated from our real work environment. So now let's get to installing Hermes. Firstly, I will SSH into the terminal. So let's do this. SSH IZ at 192.168.122.29. Yes. All right, I'm in. Now let's get to the installation process. So firstly, let's update the package repository and install the basic dependencies. And that is just installing curl and git. At install git curl. Shouldn't take too long. And they're already installed. Now, let's run the official Hermes installer. Copy this command. I'll leave everything linked in the description down below. And yeah, once the installation finishes, Hermes will automatically take us into its setup process. So once the install is done, I will see you during the setup process. And the installation has completed, and now here we are in the setup process. So obviously, I'll select full setup. And now it asks us what provider do we want to use. So for today, I'll use OpenAI Codex, as I do have a ChatGPT Plus subscription. So let me log in and I'll see you in a second. And I've logged into GPT Plus. Now let's select our model of choice. So for this, I'll use GPT 5.6 Sol. I'll keep the terminal backend local. And obviously I said I'll configure Telegram, so let's select it, space, and then hit enter. And obviously, I will want to create a bot manually. So number 2, Telegram bot token. So now let's log into telegram.org, web.telegram.org. Search up the bot father. There he is. Click start. /new bot. I want to give him a name. Kratos. The username for him. Kratos Hermes _bot. Okay, that's taken. Kratos Agent. Hermes Agent bot. Okay. Kratos Hermes bot. _Hermes bot. Perfect. Obviously, I cannot show you the token. Let's paste the bot token. Allowed user ID. To find that, we have to go to the user info bot. Hit start. This is to ensure that only we can use what's his name, Hermes, and no one else. Yes, I want to set this as my home channel. Yes, start him as a systemd service. Yes, a user service. Yes, I want to start the service. That's it. And now enter to confirm. Let's keep the provider as default because we'll be using the terminal. We're going to keep this as default because obviously we can generate images and everything else from Telegram, so we're not going to be using terminal. Skip. Just keep everything as default. For Telegram, he can do cron jobs. You can have memory, skills, video analysis. We can enable that later as well. So just enter to confirm. Skip for now. Skip for now. Yes, I want to start him as a gateway service. And now let's run the source command to reload our shell. Source /rc. Now let's run Hermes to see if everything works. Perfect, as you can see, he launches. Now let's introduce ourselves. Hi, I am Ilham, and I have a YouTube channel at Ilham Foss on YouTube. Let's see what he responds with. As you can see, he is reasoning. This shows us the amount of tokens we have left, and as you can see, he used his memory. He updated it, and he said he's gonna remember us, and that we have a YouTube channel, and he wants to help with the channel. Perfect. Hermes is installed and responding. Now we can do the completely unnecessary yet funny part, something that gives Hermes the personality that we love. We are not merely just giving him a Kratos-styled voice. We're going to make Hermes believe that he is fully Kratos. So Hermes uses a persistent file such as soul.md to define who it is, how it thinks, how it speaks, and how it behaves in future sessions. So we are going much deeper than a temporary roleplay prompt. We're going to give it a complete identity, worldview, operating philosophy, technical vocabulary, and a personal relationship with me. So obviously I have a prompt written up, and yeah, I'll leave it in the description down below. But for now, let me just copy and paste it over. And yeah, as you can see, he's already using a skill, Hermes Agent. And yeah, so right now we're teaching him to become Kratos, which is very ironic because if you guys did play any of the God of War games, you already know Kratos hates Hermes. Very ironic. But yes, I'll be right back once he's done running this prompt, and we'll see his results. And there it is. This is much more than a communication preset. Hermes now identifies itself as Kratos. It has Kratos' worldview, discipline, technical operating principles, relationship with me, the user, restrained terminology, and safety boundaries written into its persistent identity. Now, let's begin a new session so the complete identity is loaded from the start. Exit. You don't have to exit, I don't know why I did that. And run Hermes. And let's test it now. Identify yourself. Explain your role, your relationship with me, and the principles that guide how you handle dangerous technical work. Answer in about a paragraph. Well, let's see what he says. As you can see, he's already thinking. He's going through his memory files. See, it worked perfectly. So the underlying software is still Hermes Agent. But the agent living inside it now believes that he is Kratos. Not Kratos for just one conversation. Not Kratos because I reminded it 5 seconds ago. Because a new session loaded the identity automatically. The engine is Hermes, but the soul is Kratos. Now that the Kratos identity is active, let's see whether the same personality carries over to Telegram. Let's go back to Telegram. Click on our bot. Hit start. Perfect. And now let's see. Let's start him. Who are you? I'm Kratos, the older disciplined warrior who learned what rage without judgment costs. Perfect. This is absolutely perfect. And yeah, for this video, that's all we need to demonstrate Telegram and Hermes running inside of Telegram. We aren't giving the Telegram bot a technical task yet. The purpose of this Telegram section is to simply prove that Hermes can communicate through Telegram while keeping the Kratos personality we created. Keep the bot token private and restrict access to your Telegram user ID. Now, let's return to the terminal and inspect how the identity was stored. So let's exit and see Hermes, and let's inspect the main identity file. Sed-n 1 260p sol.md. You are Kratos. You're the older Kratos of the Norse era. As you can see, he copied the entire prompt over, and contains much more instructions to sound angry. It defines Kratos' identity, history, worldview, relationship with me, communication style, technical behavior, and authorization boundaries. We can also locate the backups. Run ls. As you can see, he kept backups. And if this ever becomes annoying later, we have our path of return. Perfect. Now, let's give our man Kratos here a technical task. A very small one, just so it doesn't use up any tokens than necessary. Perform one tiny read-only system check. Use one terminal invocation and report only a host name, human readable uptime, root file system usage. Do not use the web, modify any files, install anything, launch any sub-agents, or retry failed commands. Show the exact commands that you used and keep the result below 6 lines. Let's see what he says. He's brainstorming. Perfect. Hermes should simply just run very simple hostname commands. As you can see, he's already done. The hostname is Ubuntu server. As you can see, he's already showing what commands he ran. Perfect. 3 pieces of information, 1 read-only invocation, and no wasted API usage, as you can see over here. Kratos may describe this as inspecting the realm, but the actual hostname, uptime, and disk usage remain technically clear, which is perfect. And this is the balance that we want. Now, let's teach Kratos the skill to preserve this procedure. Learn, create a reusable skill named Quick System Check from the workflow we just completed. Let's see. As you can see, it tells over here, when done, tell the user the skill name, its category, and a 1-line summary of what it captured. Learning a skill from what you described. And he's processing it, and as you can see, he already started using one of his skills, as an authoring skill, to create a new skill. And he's listing it under the DevOps section. Description is report hostname, uptime, and root file system usage. Perfect. I'll be right back once Hermes actually creates the skill. Hermes has now converted the completed workflow into a reusable skill. So let's find it. cd.hermes, cd skills, and remember, it was under the DevOps section. So cd DevOps ls. As you can see, it's there. The quick system health check. Perfect. That is the part that makes Hermes interesting. The learned procedure is not hidden. We can inspect its instructions. We can inspect its expected output, as well as the failure behavior. We can edit it, delete it, back it up, place it under version control. Now, let's actually test this skill in normal language. Kratos, quickly inspect this realm using the quick system health check skill that you learned. Let's see if he remembers. Quick system check. As you can see, he's already invoking the skill. That already tells us that he knows what to do. This is great. Hermes understands the Kratos terminology, recognizes the actual skill being requested, and reuses the same restricted workflow. It did not just finish the original task, it preserved the method. Now, let's return to OpenClaw. OpenClaw can also create local skills and learn from the completed workflows, so it would be inaccurate to say that it only works through downloaded extensions. But its large public skill ecosystem creates another supply chain decision. Researchers have found malicious skills pretending to be legit tools. Some contained malware, while others attempted to persuade the agent or user to execute dangerous commands. OpenClaw has added additional scanning and skill governance tools, which is a good response. But automated scanning is never perfect, and the risk isn't just exclusive to OpenClaw. Hermes can also install outside skills, and those skills should be treated as untrusted until reviewed. The difference in the workflow we just used is where the skill came from. We did not just search a marketplace for a system check skill. We defined a small task, restricted its behavior, watched Hermes complete it, and then preserved the reviewed procedure. That gives us a clearer chain of custody. It doesn't automatically make the generated skill safe, but we are aware where it came from, and we can inspect exactly what it does. The best part about Hermes is that he separates different types of persistent information. Kratos' complete identity belongs in its own identity files, aka the soul.md file, because that defines who the agent is, how it communicates, and how it approaches technical work. A lasting fact about me, the user, or you, could belong in memory. The procedure for performing the system check belongs in a skill. Identity defines who the agent is. Memory stores durable facts and preferences. Skills store reusable procedures. Because these are readable files, we can inspect what the agent believes about itself, what it remembers about us, and how it intends to perform recurring work. Hermes is powerful because it can access real tools. That means we definitely need real boundaries. For a first installation of Hermes, keep him in a virtual machine, take snapshots. Do not run Hermes as root. Reviewed any proposed file changes that it makes. Require approval for risky commands. Restrict its Telegram access. Inspect third-party skills. Keep credentials out of recordings. A self-improving agent can preserve a bad workflow just as easily as a useful one. A strong personality can also become distracting if it is allowed to override technical accuracy. That is why the Kratos identity specifically says that safety, honesty, authorization, and correct terminology always comes first. We can inspect the identity files. We can inspect learned skills. We can review commands before approving them. And because this demonstration is inside a disposable Ubuntu server VM, as you can see over here, Kratos does not have unrestricted access to the laptop that's hosting him in the first place. So, is Hermes better than OpenClaw? For me, yes, he is. Hermes gives us model flexibility, terminal access, persistent identity, memory, reusable skills, automation, and messaging integrations. But the features that sells me is the learning loop. We can complete a task, correct the agent, preserve the successful method, inspect the resulting skill, and reuse it later. We can also build a complete persistent identity that carries across the terminal, new sessions, Telegram, or whatever messaging platform that you may use. OpenClaw can perform similar self-learning workflows, so the difference is not absolute. But with Hermes, learning feels like the center of the experience. It doesn't merely accumulate capabilities. It develops a working relationship and operating method with you, even when that relationship is with the ghost of Sparta. And that's basically it, everyone. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please do leave a like, subscribe to my channel so you never miss an upload. And yeah, leave any comments down in the comment section below if you want to see any future videos about anything that you want, or if you want more videos of Hermes Agent. I do have plans of covering more videos in the future regarding to Hermes, especially about Honcho and how its memory works, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, stay safe, everyone.